It's Tuesday, the 14th of August 2018, and welcome to Navigating Your Day. In Jin Shin Jyutsu, safety energy lock number 14 came into the universe meaning equilibrium or sustenance. And safety energy lock number 14 is located on the middle of your rib cage, more or less. Sort of, if you put your finger at the base of your breastbone, and you follow your rib cage sort of halfway along, that's where safety energy lock number 14 is. It's in the waistline of the body, and it means equilibrium because it connects the heaven of the body, the top half, to the earth of the body, the bottom half. It also connects heaven to earth. In other words, the realms outside of the physical to the physical. It connects our angelic nature with our more animal nature. It connects our soul or spirit with our ego. So safety energy lock number 14 is really important in maintaining balance. And you know how people are always looking for work-life balance or balance. Everyone just wants peace and harmony and balance. Right. Well, safety energy lock number 14 is where it's at if that's what you're after. It is also on either side of your major digestive organs. So the left safety energy lock number 14 is over the stomach, spleen and pancreas, parts of the small intestine, and the one on the right is over the liver and gallbladder and part of the large intestine. And it's involved obviously with detoxification. So digestion, detoxification, what you ingest and what you eliminate, what you take in, what you detoxify, what you discard, what nourishes you and what punishes you. Toxins are punishing, nutrients are nourishing. That equilibrium is maintained through safety energy lock number 14. And in Jin Shin Jyutsu, they say that 99% of all health conditions start because energy gets blocked at the waistline. And that would be in the area of safety energy lock number 14. So 14 is a 5, and 5 is about adaptation. 5 is about adapting to a changing environment. And you think about it, that's what your digestive system and your detoxification mechanisms are doing every day. Because you don't necessarily always eat exactly the same kind of food, and you're not always in exactly the same kind of environment. But basically, as that changes, as you change up what you're eating, as you change up what you're drinking, as you change up what you're thinking, as you change up what environment you're in. So for example, if I go to Johannesburg and I'm exposed to that pollution, I don't detoxify that well. So I've got to be more careful for me in terms of what I eat and drink and make sure that I stay well hydrated because I need to compensate. So that's just me. It might be different for other people, but that's what safety energy lock number 14 does. That 5 allows us to adapt. 5 can also be about stress and change. So, when you are, chucking 10 donuts and 2 liters of Coca-Cola down your throat every day for a month, you are going to you're not going to be able to adapt well enough, basically. And when you can't adapt well enough, then you have to deal with the changes that you've wrought, and that can sometimes lead to stress and overwhelm. So 5s love to network, they love to make connections with people, they're the inventors, they're the analysts, they spend a lot of time in their head, they spend a lot of time finding new ways to do things, they love new technologies, they love gadgets. We've still got Mercury going retrograde, so our gadgets might still be playing up a bit, but that's the energy of the 5. 5 loves adrenaline. 5 loves to move. 5 loves to burn off that excess adrenaline. 5s are better when they exercise. So all of those things can help us to connect to that adaptive energy of the 5 rather than the stress and overwhelm that is also possible with the 5. Now, right next to the 5, we have the 8 from August, and 8 is an earth number. So 5 is an air number, 8 is an earth number. So 5 is the one that's got all the ideas and wants to get out there and just wants to have a good time, and 8's the responsible one that says, seriously, really? Okay, that's a great idea. So practically, what are we going to do about that? How are we actually going to use that? So you might find that there's a bit of tension today between wanting to stick to routines, that's the 8, wanting to play it safe, that's the 8, wanting to do it the right way because that's what needs to be done, and that 5 that wants to be a bit more rebellious and that wants to actually do it differently and it wants to find different ways of doing things. So again, you need to allow both of those energies to have a place in your life today, because otherwise it ends up leading to conflict, and then the 5 becomes overwhelmed and stressed, and the 8 becomes extremely pedantic and rigid, all right, and doesn't want to shift. We've got the 2 from 2018, which is a water number, which introduces the emotion. So 5 is very much in the head. 5s are the analysts. They don't trust their feelings. They are head numbers. 2 is a heart number. And caught in between your head and your heart sits your will and your voice. Who am I? What is it that I want to actually express in the world? And if that energy between the head and the heart is not congruent, then the will doesn't know how to express or needs to express differently all the time, and then that energy center becomes overwhelmed, and that's when we develop things like underactive thyroid or overactive thyroid, or chronic laryngitis, or chronic sore throats, or losing our voice, or an inability to articulate, or feeling as if we just, we've got no willpower. Well, it's because the energy is being sapped, because one day we're going with the head and one day we're going with the heart, and because the head and the heart are pulling in two seemingly opposing directions, the will doesn't know where to go, and that leaches energy out of that energy center. So today some of us might feel that contrast between the head and the heart energy, all right? So because the 5 is very much in the head and the 2 is a lot more in the heart. And also the hero today, we have a 6, which is a fire number. So I thought it was a 7. I was going to get it wrong. The villain actually is also a 2. So when we've got 2 in the villain, we are insensitive to our own feelings and the feelings of other people. In fact, we don't really want to acknowledge feelings that much when we have 2 in the villain. So that makes that the head wins at the expense of the heart more likely today. And when that happens, then the will gets sapped and drained. So do just bear that in mind. The hero today is the 6. So when we've got 6 in the hero position, it's about balance. It's about maintaining the balance. It's about being able to be in the head, as well as being able to be practical, and as well as being able to be connected to our emotions. So that 6 in the hero is a beautiful energy that helps us to stay connected on all levels. It also helps us to be clear and discriminating about what it is that we need in order to have that balance. It becomes less about what do other people want of me and more of what do I need for myself. And that's an energy that we can really tap into today, and that we can utilize very strongly, because when you are true to, when you are true to what you need, and when you can be discriminating about knowing, is this my value, or is this something that I'm doing to please me? In other words, is this being true to who I am, or is this in order to actually please an outside authority, and then I have to sacrifice myself in order to do that? 6 helps us to make that distinction, and the more we can make that distinction, the more we will have equilibrium, and the better we will be able to sustain ourselves. The hero today, as I mentioned earlier, is a 2, and not the hero, sorry, the villain. The hero is the 6, right? The villain is the 2, and when we have 2 in the villain position, then we become insensitive to our feelings and the feelings of other people. We discard the emotion. If we're head people, then we just go, all that emotional irrationality, I don't want to go there, all right? Or if we are more emotionally inclined, then we can become confused about what our emotions are actually trying to tell us, or we can become overly emotional. And that doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to be crying and rant, but we might become really irritated. We might become very impatient. We become hypercritical. That's what 5 can do when it becomes overwhelmed. It becomes hypercritical of himself and hypercritical of everyone else. Can't let any mistakes go. So that's what we really need to guard against today. Safety energy lock number 14. You can hold safety energy lock number 14 by placing your hands on your ribs, or you can hold safety energy lock number 19, which is here on the shoulder. Oh my God. Hello. On the 5 is the number of communication. Not really working for me today. On the elbows, right? When you hold safety energy lock number 19, which is on the elbow crease, it helps you to open safety energy lock number 14 in the front. And 9 is about I take authority and leadership for my own sustenance. So when we do that, you can do that. If you do that for 20 minutes, that's probably about the optimal time. Or you can hold the ring finger, because that's where safety energy lock number 14 is. And when you hold the ring finger, you harmonize the lung and the large intestine organ function energy. You help the lymphatic system to clear more effectively. You help the connective tissue to have better integrity. And you release emotions, you harmonize the emotion of sadness and deep grief, and you let things go. So 5 is about breaking down old forms in order to put on new forms. And when we hold the ring finger, it helps us to let the old forms go so that we can make room for the new. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.